Hey guys, Udub Ultra here. Welcome back to the channel. Bringing you another update video for my settings. Just want to be able to walk through again with this series of videos to just show you the latest settings that I'm using, and really more importantly that this video, just for all of my POV gameplay videos that in the future that do use these settings, this will be linked in the pinned comment. So for those who are familiar with my channel, you know what I'm talking about. For those new to my channel and watching this, so I make primarily POV gameplay videos on my ultra-wide and also on my C1. Now the purpose of this settings video is just to be a walkthrough of the settings that I have. So if you wanted to check them out when you watch my POV videos, like, hey, what settings is Udub using? You'll be able to watch it in this manner. Now, for those who watched my last video, update number 1, really there's actually nothing new about the overall monitor game settings. That's actually all the same settings. The reason I'm making this video is specifically because I just got my new service remote here. Can't really see it that well on camera, but ordered it on Amazon. It gives you access to the LG service menu. So I'm going to link the product page for this down in the pinned comment as well. But again, this is just the remote that I ordered, and again, it lets me access some extra menus. And really, I got this specifically, just from a lot of online discussion with this generation of monitors, but basically being able to increase the brightness by turning off a few settings in the service menu. Now, don't worry, for those new, I am going to do a full walkthrough here. So first, we're going to go and start just with the default monitor settings. Again, this is what you can get access to just through the monitor with the regular remote. Now, real quick, worth noting, HDR is on my PC or through my the video source here. So just keep that in mind as I'm doing this, because a lot of settings initially will be blacked out. So first off, monitor set to gamer 1, right? All this other stuff turned on, right? VRR is set to on. No crosshair. And then here, again, when HDR is on, all of these settings black out except for brightness and sharpness. Now, again, that's at 100 and 60 respectively. Now, in just a second, I'll turn HDR off, so it'll give me access to these settings, and I'll show you those too. But first, just to keep going, right, everything else here, I have this plugged in through HDMI. Personally, aspect ratio, right, set to original. If you do it a full wide, by the way, just for those who are curious with this monitor, it'll force it to be full screen. So basically, you could take your PS5, for example, switch it to full wide, and it'll stretch the 16:9 image all the way across. I don't advise doing that. It looks very weird, but again, just worth noting if you want to get rid of those black bars. And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? All this other stuff is just, the lighting on the back of the monitor, etc. Now, real quick, let me pull up the HDR menu here. Okay, so HDR menu here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off for a second. All right, so it's off. All right, now that it's HDR is off, if I bring up that menu again, right? So again, Gamer 1 still, right? Now, but in this case, now I actually have access to, for example, black stabilizer and all of these picture settings here. Now, I say all this because the one thing that is worth noting is all of these settings that you set in HDR get carried over. So when I turn HDR back on, whatever I've changed to these settings will also carry over. So just want to note that that's something that I encourage you to experiment with too. But yeah, just worth noting in that regard. So here, black stabilizer is set to 70. Oops, menu went away. So black stabilizer 70. If I go down to picture adjust, right? Brightness still at 100, contrast at 100, sharpness is set to 60. I would, again, this is just a taste. Again, 60 is where I prefer it. Anything beyond 60, in my opinion, is just way too sharp. Now, gamma here is set to mode 2. Again, you can change it to any mode you like. It's just mode 2 is definitely my preferred. And then color temp is actually, this was something I was experimenting with as well. Now, this setting doesn't get carried over. I will say that. It doesn't seem to get carried over when you turn HDR back on. So just because I was experimenting with it, I put this to manual. And again, under manual, you can adjust it to, there's 8 presets for 8 levels of cool and eight levels of warm. So I just put this all the way down to 8. But again, unfortunately, that doesn't actually carry over. So again, color temp, black level is set to high. You can switch, again, I just think it looks better here. By the way, I'll take this time to note, by the way, all these settings are just at my preference, right? This isn't like for me using any tools or calibration. This really is primarily just, tips online, other people that are sharing, especially with what they've experienced, and also just my own taste. All right, so let me pull the HDR menu back up. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to turn HDR back on. All right, now we're back. And so real quick, the one other, before I go into the service menu, I just want to show the one other desktop item I have, and that is the NVIDIA control panel. All right, so here I have the NVIDIA control panel. Now, though everything is default here, this is in the adjust desktop color settings for those who are curious. Now, because I used to use Gamer 2, which I liked because of the additional color and saturation, to get some of that back while still enjoying the warmer tone of Gamer 1, what I've done here is, again, all of this is default except for digital vibrance. I've just turned this from 50, which is default, to 55%. Again, just it's very, very, very slight, but again, just giving a little bit more to that vibrance to kind of pop on screen. So that's the one other desktop setting here. All right, so now that we're back here at desktop, I'm going to bring up the service menu here so everyone can see it. So on the remote, real quick, the remote I have, which like I said, I will have linked. So there's a button on here that you're going to press that's called In Start. Now in Start, the first thing you're going to do is this aging icon here, or aging here, the first setting, is going to be by default set to off. You're going to have to turn it on and then close the menu, because what it will do, what you'll notice is that this is here, actually I'll just do it here. Okay, I'm going to turn it off. Now I refreshed it, right? Now this is how it'll originally look, right? This menu is a lot smaller overall, right? Just overall less settings to choose from. If I turn it back on and press In Start again, it'll reload the menu and you have this full selection. So first things first, you're going to want to turn that on, or that's at least what I've done here. And so now if you come down here to debug, now this is the setting you're going to want for brightness, and this is what I've changed personally. So debug module OLED. Go to this one. Okay. Now, the settings that are going to be enabled here are two. So I've adjusted two. So CPC enable by default with this monitor is on. And then if I scroll down here real quick, LEA refresh enable is also defaulted to on. So what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to turn both of these settings on so you can watch and hopefully be able to see it on camera in real time what's going on. Now, I'm sure you hopefully was able to pick up. Now, CPC enable is the biggest one, right? Turning this off. What this is the vignette that's kind of happening on screen. Basically, the lights get dimmer further out from center of the screen. So again, this makes the biggest difference. You'll see it here if I switch it off, right? You see, if you focus on the center is not what's changing, right? But what the reason the whole screen becomes and shows so much brighter is because now the entire screen is illuminated, so to speak. So that I have turned off, and then again, for an additional little bit of brightness, this LEA refresh enable, which again by default is on, turn that off as well, and you'll get a little bit, another boost here. Now these are the only two settings I've changed, right? That's the only thing I've adjusted was, those three steps, right? Turning aging on, resetting the menu so all the settings pop up, and then going to debug module OLED and making those adjustments. Now, I really have been enjoying this experience so far. Again, it really does genuinely make a big difference in brightness. I didn't even necessarily realize I know looking online, people had noticed it, but to my natural eye, I didn't really realize what was happening with that vignette kind of going out with the screen dimming basically towards the edges. That was the first one I adjusted, and I couldn't believe how much brighter the screen is. So again, it is a huge help, and so definitely going to be using this. Like I said, these will be the settings I'm going to be using for the foreseeable future, and of course, I will make an update video again should I change anything, and of course, that video will be linked for all the future POV videos. But with that, let me know down in the comments what you guys think, right? If you have any questions at all, any comments, perhaps you have played with your own settings on the monitor. But like I said, I'm really enjoying these, so we'll see how again, over the next few videos I do, we'll see if I do make any adjustments. But with that, I appreciate y'all for your support. Please don't forget that like button and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.